Imagine commuting on a roller coaster, but you're not at an amusement park. You're just trying to get to work. The train weaves through high-rise buildings, dives underground through solid rock, and glides over rivers on suspension bridges hundreds of feet in the air. Welcome to Chongqing, the only city where the metro feels like a thrill ride. This is the world's most extreme transit system, built in a place where engineers were told, this is impossible. Today we're going inside one of the most insane metro networks ever created. Why it had to be built, how it actually works, and what it tells us about the future of building cities where normal rules don't apply. To understand this metro, you need to understand the city behind it. Chongqing is one of the largest cities in the world that almost no one outside China talks about. It's home to over 32 million people, nearly the population of Canada, and it's packed into a region that looks more like a mountain range than a city grid. The nickname 8D City isn't a marketing gimmick. It's a reference to the extreme verticality of the landscape. Streets aren't laid out in neat lines. They're stacked. Elevation changes of 200 to 300 meters are common. That's like climbing a 70-story building, just to reach the next road. It's not unusual to stand on one road, look straight out, and see another road above you, floating in the air. Imagine trying to build a transit system here, or worse, imagine living here without one. This city isn't just dense, it's vertical chaos. Think Inception meets snakes and ladders. That's Chongqing. Before the metro, Chongqing was a transportation disaster. For years, it was ranked among China's worst traffic systems, second only to Beijing. And while Beijing struggled with smog and sprawl, Chongqing was trapped in its own geography. During peak hours, tens of thousands of commuters would clog the same narrow mountain roads. There was no room to expand. New roads just looped over the old ones. Buses couldn't keep up. Taxis couldn't move. And any form of light rail seemed physically impossible. But the city had no choice. If it wanted to grow, it had to move. And that meant building a metro in terrain that was never meant for trains. Today, the Chongqing rail transit system stretches over 560 kilometers, longer than the subway networks of New York or London, and ranked as the 6th longest in the world. But it's not the length that makes it extreme. It's the elevation. At Hualongqiao Station, trains arrive on a platform 50 meters above ground, held up by a forest of concrete stilts that rise out of a steep riverbank. Meanwhile, Hongyankan Station drops you nearly 100 meters underground. So deep it takes 8 minutes on an escalator just to reach the surface. That's deeper than many mine shafts. The metro also performs architectural gymnastics that don't exist anywhere else. At Elizabeth Station, the train literally passes through the 8th and 9th floors of a residential building. Not next to it, through it. And no, this wasn't an accident. The building was engineered around the rail line with reinforced floors, vibration isolation, and noise reduction. Then there are the bridges. The Egongyan Suspension Bridge, built with train tracks on top of a road deck, and the Kaohsiunman Arch Bridge, one of the longest of its kind on Earth. These are megastructures, yet they're just another stop on the way to work for millions of riders. Chongqing's first metro proposals date back to the 1940s, and for nearly 50 years they all failed. The terrain was considered too dangerous, too unstable, too expensive. Standard subway tunnels couldn't handle the constant ups and downs. Overhead space was limited. There was no room to stage cranes or lift beams. The breakthrough came in the late 1990s, when engineers proposed something unconventional, a monorail system. Monorails are cheaper to build, require less space, and can handle steeper slopes and tighter curves, perfect for Chongqing. The city partnered with Japanese companies to adapt monorail tech to local conditions, then began designing new machines to handle the terrain. One invention was a custom beam-laying machine that could operate on steep slopes and narrow streets, something no other metro project had ever used. By 2005, Line 2 was operational. It included the now famous Liziba station, where engineers built the rail line first, then wrapped an apartment complex around it. Today, Line 2 is just one of 12 metro lines, with a mix of monorail and conventional heavy rail. 3 more lines are under construction, and while most cities take 10 to 15 years to add a new line, Chongqing is building them at breakneck speed, sometimes opening multiple segments in a single year. Some of Chongqing's metro feats don't just push boundaries, they ignore them entirely. At Liziba, trains pass through a building without disturbing the residents thanks to vibration isolation tubes that separate the rail structure from the building's foundations. The noise? Less than 60 decibels inside the apartments, quieter than a typical conversation. Then there's Hongyankun Station, the deepest in China. It took 3 years to build, and during excavation, workers had to climb down 20 minutes each day to reach the bottom. Each tunnel segment was drilled through dense rock, often with water pressure building behind them. Ventilation was a major challenge. So were emergency exits. So engineers added high-capacity lifts, multiple escape shafts, and intelligent air circulation systems just to make it safe. And this is just the beginning. By 2035, Chongqing plans to operate 23 lines with over 1,000 kilometers of track. The city will effectively have more metro track than all of Germany. Chongqing's metro isn't just a train network. It's a response to a city that defies every rule of urban planning. Built through cliffs, under rivers, over bridges, and inside buildings, it's one of the most extreme examples of what happens when engineers are told, "That's impossible," and then find a way to do it anyway. It moves 3 million people a day through one of the world's most challenging landscapes, and it's only getting bigger. So here's the question: would you ride this metro? Or maybe you already have. If so, what was it like? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your experience. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, consider subscribing for more stories about the wildest engineering feats around the world. See you next time.